Alright, hello there. So I'm looking to do a little bit of a continuation of kind of a previous video I did, where I showed off some create contraptions I had in kind of a testing world that sort of ended up being a little bit of a role-playing world, but I also did end up losing that world. But my addiction for building create contraptions has not been quelled. And I've gone ahead and made another little world with a few contraptions that are kind of centered around this one little kind of hyper-localized application. So we're gonna be coming out of the tunnel. It's like some fresh snow is falling as we're coming in. That'll be important later. But yeah, first of all, you can see we just got a little parking lot here. Nothing too crazy. In our entrance here, we have our observatory keycard. That's where we're at. We're in a mountaintop observatory at the moment. We come into a nice little hallway here. This is something we'll be checking out in a minute there. I'll probably just start with going just our little table we have here, just a little bit of decoration to keep anybody stuck here for long periods of time a little less depressed. We have our little researcher room here, you know, bed and everything. This is for the key card here. Got a couple of furnaces, refined storage, nothing in there. It's creative mode, don't really need to put anything in there. It's just proof of concept, and then, of course, a little computer craft computer there for programming projects, personal things, stuff like that. Every door in here is tied to a key card as well, aside from the door to the main atrium, I suppose you'd call it. But yeah, right next door we have our little chemical lab. We got a little fan spinning up there, a little plant. This is the emergency shower, if you will. This is just a create sprinkler. Pretty basic stuff, I mean. Doesn't really turn off when you want it to turn off, so you kind of gotta just flick the lever, pulse it. It'll run for a minute. I suppose it's kind of like a real emergency shower. I don't think you can turn it off so easily. Another little refined storage grid in here for access to the storage system, obviously again, creative mode. And these are all the blocks from the alchemistry mod, which allow you to dissolve items and recombine them into different items. Make chemical compounds, things like that. It's all functional, just obviously it's mainly for decoration here. Coming back out, we do have a little living space kitchen, just for whoever is here to cook food and whatnot. We got all the tools and stuff up there, the multi-block kitchen, so this accesses all that, oven and everything, and the Farmer's Delight stove as well, just because it's very cozy, to be honest. And then, I suppose we'll go into the main atrium, which is kind of, I suppose, the main reason I'm making the video, because this took me a little while. Just ascend through here. See, we got a nice little metal door here. It's just automatic. We got some glass pressure plates there. You walk over and it opens them. Pretty simple. So in here we've got a little map room, little seat right there and everything. As you can see, the observatory is here, right in the center, and then outwards we got our maps. I wanted to do kind of like a constellation type thing. You can probably hear the rain out there. The whole biome isn't winter, unfortunately. Got kind of unlucky with that one. But yeah, I wanted to have kind of a constellation-y looking lighting scheme. So I've got this deep slate brick with the pearlescent frog lights, this kind of a star-like pattern, I suppose. We've got a little monitor here. I don't think this does anything. Actually, I might have wrote a little program literally just to display. Yeah, okay. That was supposed to be on, but we're just going to pretend that was on when I walked in. This pedal apothecary is honestly just for decoration. We have a little industrial foregoing fluid setup here, hooked up to a little generator. This is just kind of something to fill the space, if I'm being honest. in reality, I mean, you could use this to produce machine casings for industrial foregoing. That's kind of the main reason for this setup. But yeah, so before we get to the rest of this atrium, because there are some other things in here that I'd like to point out, I would like to just go to the little roof over here. So, we have a bit of snow accumulating. Just get rid of that real fast. We do have a little telescope here, as well as our power system, which is a series of solar panels. And that's distributing power via the XNet mod. So I love XNet. It's one of my favorite mods. Logistically, it's just excellent. It's very efficient, very easy to set up. You don't have to move anywhere to do kind of advanced things or craft a ton of weird blocks or items or anything. You just control it all from the controller here. So literally all this does is these produce power, goes into these pipes. Well, first it goes into the energy cell, it stores the power, and then it comes out into these pipes, which also store power. As you can see at the top there, they have an internal power buffer that's very slowly being drained. I think that's just the alchemistry things taking power faster than this is producing that. Well, this is... I won't worry about it though, it's probably something I have configured wrong. But yeah, literally just one connector here, one connector for each of the items. I extract 100k from the pipe, and I just insert 20k into each of these. And then if I want a separate set of 100k, because obviously this stores 512 kilo-FE, I'm pretty well, I'm very bad at math, so we're just going to ignore that I even said that. But there's a lot more than 100k in there, is all I mean. So essentially, I can just start another main power line, and I have full access to another full 100k RF to transfer in this line on its own. So it's only 100k per line. So each line is like each column here. And then, yeah, the other one just goes to the refined storage or whatever. Yeah, refined storage controller. Control that. But yeah, the little satellite or telescope here, excuse me, just slightly adjustable. So you can, you know, come out here. You have your little research station. Look through the telescope and everything. Obviously, it's not functional. That is not a feature of the CreateMod. Graphical lensing. It's not sure that's even a feature of Minecraft, to be honest. Alright, anyway, back into the main atrium. You can see the shafts for the door down there, by the way. Bit of decoration. Anyway. So, we come up here. You will notice we do have a little screen with some information in it. I will admit, this is kind of just for decoration, for the most part. These panels here do represent the energy cells that are connected to the solar panels out there, so that is useful. This is genuinely the Minecraft time, but this is just fake text that I just typed in. So that doesn't actually mean anything, it's just for decoration. So, you may notice there is a large telescope hung from the ceiling. And you may have also noticed that next to that seat down there, there is a button. Now, this is probably going where you're thinking it's going. It aligns to the telescope so that you can, you know, sit here, look through at the stars or whatever. And it does actually shift into place and everything so that you're aligned with it. The only problem is I didn't really think it through for getting down, so you kind of just hop down and toggle it like that again. And then it resets into place, your seat comes back down. You can sit here, do your research or whatever. Yeah. But you may also notice that the ceiling, you can't actually see through it. So this is kind of a crappy observatory, right? I mean, you can't see through the ceiling. It's stone. But I also, of course, thought of that, and we've made a little create contraption for opening the windows. Now, I will admit, it's a bit more dramatic during the day with the light change that occurs, so we're just going to set the time to day here. Right fast. You can actually see that, yes, I actually did bother gluing together these giant-ass spheres. It genuinely took me 4 tries, and it was quite a slog, but I got them glued up correctly so that they do indeed open up all the way and everything. And then, of course, once the dome is open, with the snow, I will admit it is a little troublesome, but if we shut it again, it will clear the snow. But then with the dome open, you can come up here and, you know, look through your little telescope. Of course, again, telescope not really a feature here. So it's more for just decoration. And of course, we have it hooked up to a creative motor up there, but there are a few options you can have for kind of integrating these mainly with gearboxes and casings to bring it down to the wall without any open shafts or anything. But creative motors just prevented me from wasting a million hours trying to integrate that when I didn't really have to, when the purpose is just for, you know, decoration. So we'll close that dome back up there. I have one more thing to show. Let's clear the weather out here. So if I come back here where we were earlier, like I said, I was going to mention this real fast. With the keycard, we have a little garage here, and we have what generally approximates a snowplow. Looks a little bad, but you know, we've got blocks, and that's about it. So we work with what we've got. We got a little tool case here, not really in it. A couple tools on the wall there. We've got a door here, and that's the toggle for the door right there. However, this is the start button for the snowplow, and you'll notice that it actually doesn't work unless the door is open. That's just to prevent any weird graphical glitches and whatnot. So then when we press it now, you'll see our snowplow starts running here. Ah, well, this is quite embarrassing. So it turns out the Create Snowplow does not plow any snow that is accumulated. And for aesthetic purposes, I have it set so that the snow accumulation height is set to 4. So this actually cannot mine the snow. Okay, give me one moment. I'm going to reset this little experiment here, and I'm going to do it like it was originally intended. I haven't tested it since I changed the snow accumulation layer. I just assumed that it plowed snow, but it would appear that it only plows snow that is 1 high. So just give me one moment for it to complete its cycle here. Alright, we're back here. So I've let it run its route. It's come back into the garage. And I've got a little light snow here, so we're just going to clear the weather so that it's not building up while the snowplow is actively plowing it. So, you know, probably wait until after it's done snowing to bother plowing, but depends on how bad it is, I guess. And then similar to an actual snowplow, it just kind of spits the snow out of the back. The reason the chests are on there is to make that somewhat configurable. If you deconstruct the contraption, you could put a toggle for this funnel, you could turn it off and then store the snowballs internally. But I just thought it was kind of cute, the idea of having it just kind of spitting the snow out behind it as it goes along, like an actual kind of snow blower or something like that. Probably not good for lag, probably wouldn't do this in an actual server, of course. But for this little single player kind of experimental thing, I think it's kind of cute. Yeah, we'll just let that run its course. Not too worried about it right now. We'll get rid of all these snowballs, though. And we'll come back in here. And I do have one last little secret to show. The observatory, the main atrium here, does hold one more secret. You may have noticed up here, there is another button here. What that does is goes down to the secret little chamber. So, see, it opens a bit of a floor channel here that was otherwise hidden from sight. Come down here. I don't have a toggle for it on this side, but I mean, let's see if we can race in there real fast. Come on! Screw it. I have the power of creative mode. But yes, you can see it is flush as well when you're on this side. Comes down to a little spooky elevator right here. Quite small. Go down to the blood den here. So this is just a, a fun little area. Oh, what's this here? See, originally I had it kind of planned that I would have some zombies back here, and when somebody would walk down, it would trip the tripwire. This door would open up, and the zombies would come flooding out. Forgot to name tag them though, so they all despawned. But yeah, not quite as dramatic as I had originally planned. But yeah, we have a little space down here in the sewers for practicing blood magic, as you can see. Quite dark and dim. And yes, that tripwire just controls that door there. Yes, and that's actually all. I believe the snow plow should be done with its routine at this point. You can just go shut the garage up there. Yep, it's back in the garage. Look, it's nighttime now. Just shut the garage back up. And, oh yeah, just to point out too, you can see that it did get essentially all of the snow from the lot. I did hook it up. If you want to know the secret, and I am a fan of revealing my secrets in these types of videos, because it's not really that secret. Anybody who's relatively familiar with the CreateMod would probably figure out pretty fast how this works. But for anybody who's not aware, all that's going on here is we have controller rails. It's quite ugly down here, by the way. That run up and down in this one direction, and it just goes on one big closed loop into the garage. And all that snowplow is a minecart contraption that's held up by, I believe, a glass pane. So that even if you could get a peek under here, you wouldn't really see anything anyway. And then that's just hooked up to a little button down there. And as for the door, that is actually, the lock for that is entirely vanilla. Because that is just a redstone lock. So this here. Okay, I suppose not entirely vanilla, but you could do it in vanilla as well with a toggle latch. This is just Create adds it in one block, so it's a little easier. But all it does is when that button for the door is pushed, toggles this lever. When that's on, locks this input. Can't pulse the cart anymore, so you can't control it. Leave that untoggled though, that way we have it correctly hooked up. That's how that works. And then of course you saw how the observatory worked earlier. This is just a simple rotational bearing door. This is just a mechanical piston. Up here we've got a redstone sequencer. Here, let me open up our ceiling here and get some light going. All this is a sequencer with a link. Turn 30 degrees, turn 30 degrees back the other way on toggle. And this bearing here, the mechanical bearing, is set so that it only places when the anchor is destroyed. So this is technically always a contraption, and it just prevents it from causing some weird issues where it rotates a little bit and then just locks back into place. So if you're having problems like that, you may have to change the setting here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed, I would appreciate if you let me know or anything, because I do kind of like making these little things, to be completely honest with you. The Create mod is just really kind of ripe for use in any kind of environment. Its moving contraptions are just so excellent. There were some moving block mods in the past that I just simply could not have done something like this with the ceiling, because Create is just so wonderfully optimized that it allows me to do things like this without destroying my system. It does screw my FPS a little bit, I will admit, but it is doable, as opposed to past mods where something this large would probably cost you your save file. So yeah, that's all. I'll probably be making more of these whether people seem to watch them or not. I'm going to be completely honest, because I just like to make them. I like to make little things, little stupid roleplayer things, and I like to do little tours of them. So yeah, if you enjoy it, that's all the more reason for me to make them, but I will probably continue to make them anyway. Thank you for watching.